111 22 7:43 p.m. Bruce went by ambulance to Kelsey Hospital for severe abdominal pain. His skin was warm and dry. His color was good. He was just in excruciating pain. So that could be many things. We're just praying. My sense, my nurse sense, tells me that it might be a kidney stone. He's eaten a lot of venison. Gout, kidney stones, could be his gallbladder. Stomach did have bowel sounds. Thank you, Donna, the rescue person who lives behind us in the little subdivision over there. She's the first responder. She shows up, she takes vitals, she asks questions, she takes history. She is amazing. Thank you, Donna. Bruce was able to walk, supported on each side, out to the ambulance, or to the stretcher, and then put into the ambulance. Jason is going to the hospital as soon as he finishes eating, because Jason had just got home from work, and he had been here. He dropped off tools of Bruce's, and had he stayed, it'd been different. But he was the first one that I called when I finally realized that Bruce needed me, because I'm down here in the basement with my headphones on. Can't even remember, probably watching some tarot thing, and heard a sound. Sometimes you can't tell. Down here in the basement on the other side of the building from where his bedroom is, where a sound is coming from, even without headphones. So when I finally heard it, I went upstairs. Thank you, God, for giving me enough breath. I did not even have to. That worked out really well. Called Jason, called the ambulance, notified his brother, so they could tell the rest of the family if it's at their discretion. I'm not calling all of his brothers and sisters. No. Not my job. Not my job. Jason did take Bruce's truck, so that if Bruce comes home tonight, which is what we hope, because I've straightened his bedclothes and opened his bed so that he can just slide on in and go to sleep. They gave him something for pain. You know, he's a terrible person. I know he is. In so many ways. So am I. But he is the love of my life. He is the person whose name I used to call coming out of anesthesia, waking up from a bad dream, he's a person that I will never stop loving his soul. The soul of Bruce is beautiful. He is so strong. He is so dependable. He is so reliable. he's not really reliable. Let's not sugarcoat it. He thinks out loud is what he calls it. And what it actually is that he ends up lying. Well, I'm going to do this, and then doesn't do it. And then you say, but this hasn't been done. You said you were going to do it. Why do people like you always? But he went to work every day, whether he felt like it or not, sick or not. He went to work, he showed up. He showed up for his family. He showed up for his family at cousin gatherings, reunion type gatherings on both sides of his parents' family, his families, his mom's and his dad's. Graduations, open houses, weddings, receptions. He shows up. He's Bruce. He's a cold, miserly bastard, but he's Bruce, the love of my life. Can't change him, not my job. Tried to open him, did not ever go well, as it was wont to do. You cannot force change on someone who does not see that there's a problem, which is also a clue. Somebody's acting in a way you don't like, think about telling them, you know, I don't really like it when you do that. It makes me feel fill in the blank. People will listen and stop. I'm uncomfortable with that. And you can explain why or not. That's up to you. But you have to let people know what you're comfortable with and what your boundaries are, and they have to let you know theirs. I just want him to be okay, because he's loved by so many people that he doesn't realize. And he loves so many people so deeply, with that scorn and judgment and disapproval written all over it. But that's love. That's how he loves. Deeply. He just doesn't have the words. He's always wanted the words. I would have loved to have been able to give him the words. But I give him to God. Because only God can sort him out. Yes, sorting out is what he needs so he can have a happier life. I want him to have the very best life in the world, because nobody has worked harder for it. Nobody. I'm thrilled he got a new truck. I wish he'd clean the seats, but it's not my truck. It's his truck. He loves it. I'm so glad he's got it. I'm so glad for him. Life is Saturday, 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 Sunday. I love that for him. He worked for it every damn day. With personal interrelationship problems. He had problems with people at work at times. He went. He showed up. He just went. He kept food on the table. He kept the lights on. He kept the house warm. He kept us all together. He deserves the very best life he can get. And I hope God opens him up to that. And it's fine. It's perfectly fine that it doesn't include me. I don't have to be included in Bruce's life. I can love him just as deeply from afar. And from afar, I could probably even grow to like him again. You know, if he... I don't know, I just... I can't like somebody who would let people go without, because some people may get too much. I just don't get that. Everybody gets what they put out. Everybody gets back what they put out there. Cheating and negativity, and they get it back. We don't have to do anything. I guess this is kind of more on the loving the unlovable. When it's easy to love people when they're at their best. When it's easy to love people when they're at their medium. And it's easy to love people when they're low. But it is impossible to love someone, it feels like. That's not what I wanted to say. What I wanted to say is that it is possible to dislike someone but still love them because you want the best for them. You don't have to like them to want that, because that's what you want for you. You want the best for you and the people you love and the people you know. And the best, as I learned, I probably already said this, the best is it never goes against what's good, what's the common good, the greater good. It never goes against it. It always works with it. Did that make sense? Because it clicked in me. What's good for you will never be at odds with what's good for everyone, the majority of people. If it is, then it's not. It's not good. It's not. It's against the stream, as you would say in the Ghostbuster movies. Things should flow on in one direction for good. And that works best when you're not ego-driven. Me, 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 mine, mine, mine. No. You make sure you have enough of what you need, and you work for the things that you want, but you just don't assume that it's all for you and nobody else gets any. Because that don't work for anybody but you. And there are more in the world than you. I am just tired of people not understanding too that, I hate that this information is behind a paywall. Well, in a capitalistic society, people are paid by their employers for the work they do for them. Gathering news, putting it together in a form that is readable, comprehensible, and understandable. That costs money. And you have to watch it with who the advertisers are. Advertisers will buy time, space. in order to put their product, their message in front of you, so that the employer can pay the employee. You want a different way of getting the news, having total 100% free access to the news, which I really believe is what should happen. Then you have to take money out of it. It has to be like it was when it first came on, as I recall. It was free airtime on television for the news. Now sponsors buy advertising to sell you laundry soap and right-wing conspiracy theories, depending on what you watch. Everybody got to be paid. The problem is not the paying. The problem is me, mine. This is not enough. This is not enough. There is a number that is enough. There is. Because I don't care who you are. Why do you need 2 houses? Seriously. 2 mansions. Why? Why don't you just go and rent? I mean, that would at least enrich the community in which you're living. It would. Small businesses. And schools. Schools should not have to depend on funding from the property taxes of the districts that they're in, because that works against too many people who can't afford to have 2 houses in two separate states. And nothing is more important than education. Whether you closed-minded people like it or not, learning how to think critically, learning how to think, learning how to find out what you need to know, learning how to discern what is the best spin on something, because everybody's spinning it. A fact is a fact, but you can look at that fact from all different angles and put a different spin on it. Discernment and critical thinking comes in very, very handy in that situation. I don't like to do these too long because I make a lot of pauses and I can't figure out how to edit. I cannot. I've got like 3 programs on I've downloaded to edit, and I cannot figure them out. And it's not a real priority at this stage of my life. I did find out that I am number 40 on the waiting list for Section 8 housing. The last I had heard was 55. That was last year, around Thanksgiving. Bruce, whom I told today what the letter was, I knew he wanted to know. But I was still a little upset about the way the Mecosta County Housing Commission information mail got to me. Torn, wet, and with a piece of tape across the bottom of it. That could be COVID. I didn't lick this envelope on purpose either. But just the way he held on to it before he gave it to me. I told him that this for the Montcalm County Housing Commission was just me verifying that I wanted to stay on that list. And I had to document that with them by signing my name and checking that box and getting that form back to them. Could have done it through snail mail, in person. I said he was going to take Cody out for lunch. Bruce would go to Howard City. Gonna be right there. Can you drop it off at the office? He went in the wrong door, some weird thing. When he finally got to the lady that it was supposed to get to the person, I think he said it was a lady, he said, well, yeah, because this is about the rejection from the Mecosta County thing because she smokes dope, so here it is. And he told me that, and I said to him, why did you say that? And then I stopped, because it would not have ended well. It would not have ended well. Just listen, don't react. They got my thing, my form. I do not believe I lied about smoking pot on the form, because it's legal in Michigan, statewide, and this is not for their federally subsidized housing. This is for a landlord who has his own rules and regulations, some of which dovetail with the state and federal ones. And I got the application in and the fee paid for the apartments in Greenville that Roxanne likes. And I had a nice little nap, thank God, before all the drama. Just a day in the life. But I did, and did not say, but I did think, when I saw Donna and the ambulance people, I did think, you will never come here for me again. We will never interact that way again. Because there will be no need for an ambulance. As I've said, the directions are, if you find her on the floor, if she drops to the floor, put a pillow under her head and cover her with a blanket and call us. Hospice. There will be no ambulance coming for me. I watched a tarot reading just now before I started this for Sagittarius, where there was like a tower in reverse and a Four of Swords and the Empress and another card, and the guy said, well, somebody been rude to you. Somebody is getting the silent treatment, and it's going to drive them crazy. And there's you just sitting there saying, that's all right. You go right ahead. I won't tolerate it. I don't have to. And that's exactly what I say to Joshua. I don't have to tolerate it. I do not deserve it. You can go piss up a rope with that. Which I thought was odd. You know, not odd, but I mean just the synchronicity of it. Because I'd been thinking about that. And had, Jason, you're going to have to call Joshua. He is blocked on my phone. I have blocked him. I will not have any contact with him. So you call Joshua. I'll get a hold of Christopher. And that's how that worked. Oh, I want Bruce to be okay. I want Bruce to be okay. I am not going to even invent in my head a scenario where Bruce is not okay. Not. Bruce is okay. He's got a wonderful life left to live. I want him to have every minute of it. The end.